Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, June 6th. The time right now is 12:28 p.m. and the temperature is around 21 degrees Celsius. And I am here at the intersection of Pape Avenue and O'Connor Drive. And I must say, the air quality right now isn't particularly good. And I'll talk a bit about that in a few moments. And you might be able to see that there's a bit of a haze in the air and not much of a blue sky at all. Oh, there goes a training bus turning west along O'Connor. Looks like it's full of TTC employees. But yeah, this does not smell fresh at all. It looks like there's a little retail stretch over there. But for this one, I'll be heading down Pape Avenue here, south, down to Danforth, primarily through an area known as Pape Village. It's been a while since I've recorded through here. I think I've done 2 videos in the last 3 years through this area. One of them was during a snowstorm, and a couple of live streams as well. And I think the big news today is just how poor the air quality is now. There's currently over 160 fires burning in the province of Quebec, which is to the east of Ontario. And I think if you include the Alberta and BC wildfires, we're at over 400 in the country at the moment. And according to the Government of Canada's Air Quality Index, I checked the forecast today for Toronto was a 5, which is considered a moderate risk, with a potential high of 7, which is considered a higher risk. And that's a scale of 1 to 10. And I think we're normally at like a 1 or a 2. Normally, air quality is not a concern in the city, but those fires in Quebec are quite bad. And I've heard in some towns closer to Quebec, such as Kingston, it is really bad. There's a bit of a burning smell in the air. Maybe I'm going a bit overboard with this description of bad air quality. It is just definitely not what we're used to. And I'm sure it's much, much worse in other parts of the province and country for that matter. There's the East York Community Centre, as this one takes us through the former borough of East York. And I'll also be heading past a future Ontario Line subway station location, which is just to the south of here at Cosburn. This kind of reminds me of a lot of daytimes when I lived in Seoul, when the air quality wasn't that good. Be a nice day, you'd be kind of expecting a blue sky, and you just get this white, hazy sky instead. There's a Food Basics on the right, kind of a discount supermarket. And a sign here that says Pape Avenue indicates that we are now in Pape Village. That runs roughly between here and I think to Mortimer, south of here. This lady doesn't seem to be paying attention. There we go. Fabulous driving all around. Good job, Toronto. There's a Cafe Serrano. I'm not too familiar with this area other than when I come here to record. I imagine this used to be like a gas station or auto repair garage. That's why it's sitting vacant. There needs to be environmental assessments done before it's redeveloped. That might be an interesting thing to look up on Google Street View and turn back time. It definitely has an ungentrified feel to it. Much like the walk I did yesterday through Corso Italia. There's a lot of not name brand stores. Well, I guess there is a McDonald's right across the street. And this is Cosburn Avenue. So just to the west of Pape Avenue here is where the future subway stop will be. And if I were to guess, I would say maybe this building is where that subway stop will be located. There's a vacant unit on the ground floor. Maybe it's already been expropriated and cleared out. Let me know down in the comments if you know exactly what the plans are for the subway stop here. This corner seems to be okay. You get a roast beef sandwich for $8.50 and a corned beef sandwich for $8.50. This is Pape and Cosburn. There's a 25B bus. And that one ends in the other direction up at Don Mill Station. And it ends to the south at Pape Station. That's the bus that I took up. That dog has no collar, no leash. It's got to be with that lady. Got a subway. It's always interesting seeing some of the retailers get that dress for 20 bucks. So Pape Village itself isn't as much a neighborhood as it is a designated business improvement area, which is really just a stretch along Pape Avenue. 2-for-1 pizza and more. Is that the same as the 2-for-1 pizza chain? That does not look like their logo and branding at all. As I mentioned, this is in the former borough of East York, the smallest of all the former Toronto boroughs. I think the population's around 120,000. There's an old school looking variety store. More plants inside store. There's a Growers Retail. I think that's the official provincial cannabis retailer. So interestingly enough, in the 70s, this area was subject to prohibition. And And that led to bars and restaurants tending to locate south of here, down on Danforth and Greektown, which didn't have that limitation. I think that left an unfortunate lasting effect on the area. Whenever there's prohibition in effect, it always kind of has the opposite effect of what was intended. We saw something similar to the junction as well. And it took a long time for that area to recover. Property values go down, and crime goes up and that sort of thing. But I remember looking up that crime in this area is actually below the city average now.
You do? Okay, let's go.
It'll be interesting to see how being on a subway corridor transforms this area. I imagine a number of these buildings will be redeveloped. And we'll probably see an increase in density. Other than the main roads here, it's really just low density single family homes and that sort of thing. Heck, we have that right along Pape itself here. It's kind of bizarre how that came to be. Air quality aside, I think this would be not a bad day to be out on the patio. Chicken strips combo, $9.99. Free fresh strips served with honey mustard, fries, and a drink. Cheeseburger served with fries and a drink for $9.99. Pretty good prices by today's standards. And this is Mortimer coming up, so Centennial College will be just off to the right here. They've got 7 different campuses, but I think the one around the corner here includes the Story Arts Center, or however they call it. It's more of a performing arts-based campus. The Barbers, it's like an old school barber shop. The California Pub and Grill. Maybe I'll cross over to the east side here. It looks like there's a bit more going on that side. Ah, Centennial College is just off in that direction. Mortimer being a fairly major east-west street that cuts through East York here. East York is kind of split in two by the Don Valley just to the north of here. And Pape Avenue runs to just south of the Don Valley. And then it goes south down to Eastern Avenue. There's a bus going up to Thorncliffe Park. And that's a route that will be mostly replaced by the Ontario line, as there'll be a Thorncliffe Park stop, as well as a station here. I've heard mixed opinions on this place. I walked by it on a live stream once, tempting myself to go there, and some people said, no, don't do it. I think on TripAdvisor it averages over 4 stars. And there's a dog I used to babysit. Still do sometimes, but not as much since its owner's schedules have changed a bit. And this is where Charlie would get groomed. Pape Village Garden, nice little garden center. Montessori school. Greek Canadian Senior Citizens Club. Makes sense given the proximity to Greektown.
And I think she has a Pomeranian.
We got a $5 sandwich of the day. Today is what? Tuesday? It's a plant-based sandwich. It really feels like one of those neighborhoods that's kind of stuck in a bit of a time warp. I think Rogers Road has a similar feel. There's just not much in the way of modern looking buildings or even retailers. It's got its own unique look and feel to it. I think it's a bit of an older demographic in this area. There's not much in the way of affordable housing around here. It's mostly just single-family homes like that are out of reach for most Torontonians these days. But these are the same people that will fight intensification efforts with their pitchforks. Yes, we need more housing mentality, but not here because that's where I live. In fact, there's a very large high-rise proposed for Pape and Danforth, which I think is an entirely appropriate spot for it, given that it's on line 2 and will be on a future station as well, as they're building the Ontario line stop down at Pape and Danforth, and there has been all kinds of resistance to it. But if not there, then where? And for this stretch, as you can see, it's mostly residential, although some of these homes have businesses operating outside of them, or rather inside of them. There's the 925 express bus. I would have had to have hopped off at Cosburn if I took that one. There's a little corner store carved out of an old house. Something you just don't see in the suburbs. And I'm guessing this is a mayor candidate I've never heard of. Vote for Peter Hangis. Later this month, we do have an election.
I'm giving you a paper. Hi.
Hello.
Can you take a paper?
Sure.
For the other, it's a very nice job.
I'll take a look, thank you.
Yeah, take a paper.
You too. Take a paper for a very nice guy. 2023 platforms to bolster low-income rental options and curb overchanging of rental units on the market currently. I think any mayor candidate not running with addressing the housing crisis first and foremost isn't one worth considering, in my opinion. Let's see, is there any mention of mental health services on here? To bolster the recovery and addiction services in the city to help deal with the scourge of the addiction rampant in the city. Well, that's on his list as well. Duly noted. Good luck to you, sir. But I think I would bet the farm. This lady here is going to win. She is just polling so far ahead of everyone else. And just up ahead on the left is Pape Station. This building on the left seems to house a lot of medical practitioners. And here's Pape Station. When I was making my way to record this one, I hopped off here and onto the 25B bus. But if I did that now, this video, or if I went in there now, it would be a bit on the short side. Maybe I'll head over to Chester Station. This place across the street here, Suvlike, is an excellent small Greek restaurant. It's not really a real sit-down experience. It's more of a takeout place, but they have some tables. And their food is top-notch, and it's actually on the affordable side. And here's that highly opposed building I was talking about. But if they build it, there'll be more density and massing around it. I really think concerns regarding shadows are a big load of horse shit. Shade is good. We don't knock down trees in our parks when they create shade. Oh, the Urbanity did a video on that. An excellent Canadian YouTube-based channel. Or actually, Canadian-based YouTube channel, there we go. And Juicy Birds there is quite good. Here we are, Pape and Danforth. And this is where an Ontario line station will be going in, or a connection to Pape Avenue from the new line. And this place, Hunter's, is pretty good for breakfast and lunch. A lot of construction going in. And over there, where that Circle K is, used to be a Nando's Chicken. All right, let's just go west a block over to Chester Station. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that name. There's a YouTube channel called Camera Conspiracies, well, another one called Vegetable Police, and the guy who runs the channel, his name is Casey. And I've only ever seen him out and about in this area once, walking around, but he's always out vlogging and making videos. I was sitting at Louis Cypher once, which is a brew pub just up the street here, and he walked by and I called out his name. He looked over and waved, and that was that. And this place is a bit curious. It has been here for as long as I can remember, but I've never seen it have more than like 4 or 5 customers, even on a Friday or Saturday night. Over across the street, you've got what might be the best ramen in the city, Ramen Buddha Nibo, the first Jiro-style ramen in Toronto. It is remarkably filling. I think you get about twice as many noodles in a bowl versus most other ramen shops. There's the Fox and the Fiddle. I spent New Year's there up until I went out to live stream last December 31st. What is this guy doing? Yeah, he is clearly illegally parked. In fact, the first 3 cars there are all illegally parked. It's a Filipino restaurant. And speaking of excellent Greek takeout, Alexandros there is pretty solid as well. I don't think I liked it as much as Sublike. Over on this side of the street where Push Pound Sports Medicine is, used to be a Tim Hortons. It was a very busy Tim Hortons. It was always packed with people. But they always seemed to just be loitering. It's one of those places where you'd go in and every table would be full, but there'd be no lineup at the counter. We ended up closing that location and moving into a much smaller spot just on the north side of Danforth. And this place, Mez's, is moving. And they're moving into where Papa's Grill used to be, just here in the corner. Looks like they're gonna have a nice big outdoor patio spot. That was a Greek restaurant that closed down during the pandemic. There's that new Timmy's. There's Louis Cypher, which I mentioned earlier, where Casey walked by.
The thing is, like, I went into a marathon.
And when Action Kid was in town, he went to this place, Astoria. I think he's from Astoria in New York City. So I felt a connection to going to this restaurant. But I am going right here up to the subway. And I think this is as good a note as any to start signing off, so I hope you enjoyed this one. Heading south down Pape Avenue into Pape Village, and then down to Danforth, then walking west one subway stop through Greektown over to here at Chester. So I'm gonna pop into the station and be on my merry way. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button appearing below the videos if you wish to say thanks that way. It looks like there's some charging stations over here. That's neat. But anywho, hope you have had better luck with the air quality wherever you are in the world, but thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.